Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Geno. Wait a minute. Wait, guys, something just doesn't feel right here. Yeah, there. That's more like it. Let's try that again, shall we? Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Geno Reynolds and this is W&D Presents The Real Geno. Today we are going to be making a return to magical adventure archaeology. Today let's talk about the return of Dr. Henry Jones Jr. as we take a look at what's supposed to be his final adventure in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So, let's do this, Junior.
I told you! Don't call me Junior.
I don't believe in magic. But a few times in my life, I've seen things I can't explain. And I've come to believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
Dr. Henry Jones Jr. is on the tail end of just about everything in his life. He's retiring, his marriage has failed, and most days he drinks himself to sleep. When he is approached by his goddaughter about one of his past adventures, this leads him not only finding another MacGuffin, but finding himself as well. Before we begin, we have to address something concerning this movie. As much as we all want to forget a certain movie, said certain movie actually plays into the plot of this one. Don't worry, we won't be chasing crystal alien skulls this time around. That being said, a couple of things that happened in that movie do come up here. First, while things aren't going well for them, Indy and Marion are married. Second is the absence of Mutt Williams in this one. Shia LaBeouf does not return in this movie as Indy and Marion's son, and this actually plays into the plot in a few different ways. I thought that the way the story used his absence worked very well in driving Harrison Ford's portrayal of how Indy handles some things in this story. Okay, now with that out of the way, we can talk about the movie itself. I'm sure most people's concerns with this one is if it was going to be a return to form for Indiana Jones, or if Disney would take another beloved IP and, in the eyes and rage tweets of many fans, quote unquote, ruin it too. Well, I don't think that you will ever please everyone when it comes to living up to their memories of something they grew up with. I felt that this movie did a pretty good job at feeling like a natural progression for the series. The first movie chronologically is Temple of Doom, which takes place a year before Raiders of the Lost Ark. Temple of Doom takes place in 1935. Dial of Destiny takes place in 1969, minus a few flashbacks anyway. The world has changed in the 30 plus years, and I felt that this movie reflects that pretty well. I'm sure there are a lot of divided fans out there when it comes to this newest installment. For me, it felt like a really good return to form for the character as well as the movie's universe. Of course, Harrison Ford comes back to one of the roles that made him famous. Though you already know the answer, I still have to ask. Does he still got it? Did he fit back in the role even after all this time? Yeah, of course he does. While Harrison Ford is synonymous with many different roles, there are two that will stick out to most people. I don't know why I am wasting my breath telling you all this, but those two roles are, of course, Han Solo from Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Granted, I'd probably throw his portrayal as Jack Ryan in the mix as well, but that's probably more of a personal preference. While I don't feel like Ford's return to the character was on autopilot or anything, I do feel that he could probably play this character in his sleep. The thing is, in this movie, he doesn't. He gets to add some more layers to the character as Indy gets older. While he's still Indiana Jones, he's not the one-note hero, which honestly, we all know he never really has been. Joining Dr. Jones in his adventure is his goddaughter, Helena Shaw, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. While the character felt a little bit forced into the mythos at first, we've never really heard of her before this movie, I felt that the writers of this movie did a really good job of setting up her story. She's the daughter of one of Indy's good friends. A lot of this movie's story plays around that relationship as it pertains to the movie's MacGuffin, the Dial of Destiny. Helena is chasing after the item, the same as her father did, but for very different reasons. It's these reasons that play into her character's development over the course of the film. She has a sidekick in the form of Teddy, who is pretty much her short round. Speaking of short round, no. I'm going to save my opinions on that for the end. Before that, let's talk about the villains. Mads Mikkelsen joins the cast as the Nazi Jürgen Voller, who is obsessed with finding the dial. Despite Hitler's interest being elsewhere, he is obsessed with using the dial to correct the mistakes of Hitler so that the Nazis can take over the world. What more is there to say? If you followed me for a while, you know the love that Mads Mikkelsen gets on this channel. He makes any movie better, and he does that for this movie as well. There's also Kleber, who is Voller's trigger-happy right-hand man. I thought Boyd Holbrook was pretty entertaining in the role, even though he seemed to be there just for Indy to punch in the face. A lot. You get a couple of returning characters as well, but I'm only going to mention one of them. While he's not in it a bunch, John Rhys Davies returns as Sala. We find out that Indy has helped to move Sala and his family to New York, where he works as a cab driver. Unfortunately, the returning character I'm not going to mention isn't the one everybody really wanted. While this was a perfect opportunity to bring back the award-winning Ke Huy Quan, unfortunately, this doesn't happen. If this movie made one huge mistake, this would be it. Quan, who was amazing in Everything Everywhere All at Once, is red hot right now. While I like the character of Helena Shaw, this character could have easily been a grown-up short round. The movie's director, James Mangold, said, quote, "I was blown away by his work in Everything Everywhere All at Once, but that movie was shooting while we were making our movie, so I guess I can buy the whole unavailable excuse for now." Here's what I hope will happen. I'd like to see a Disney Plus series that sees both Helena Shaw, whose nickname is Wombat by the way, and Short Round as a team of archaeologists going on adventures similar to Indiana Jones. You could call it The Adventures of Wombat, Shaw, and Short Round or something like that. Will it happen? I don't know, but if there was going to be any logical continuation in this universe, this would be it. So, is this really it? Is this the final adventure for Indiana Jones? Well, it's hard to really talk about that without giving away a bunch of spoilers, but I can also say that with all the de-aging they did on Harrison Ford for the flashback scenes, it's possible if you wanted to tell some tales of Indiana's past. That being said, I'd rather see them continue in the universe in the way I mentioned a bit ago instead of that or a reboot. I wouldn't mind seeing a young Indiana Jones type show, but would still rather see Shorty come back to take over the franchise. For me, Dial of Destiny was a very entertaining return to form for both the character of Indiana Jones as well as the movie's universe. It had everything you would want in a final Indiana Jones movie, except for Short Round, of course. It had really fun action, great characters, interesting set pieces, and a lot of heart. While those that had a problem with this movie are entitled to their opinions, I feel that this movie did all the right things that a finale of a series should do. I was more than satisfied with where the movie took us and how the movie ended. I enjoyed it a lot and can't wait to see it again. If you want to see Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, you can see it in theaters right now. Make sure to follow me at WANDTV.com as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Real Geno. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, also at The Real Geno. That's going to be it for this edition of WAND Presents The Real Geno. As always, I am your host, The Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. Till next time. You know, I wonder, is this going to be my last crusade?